Hello everyone, welcome. My name is Dr. Sarah Chidiberejo. I am a researcher, lecturer, and mediapreneur. You're welcome to the second episode of our series, A Basic Guide to Doing Research. This episode is sponsored by Elanhub. Please subscribe now to this channel and click the notification bell so that when we upload the other episodes, you'll be the first to know. Please do so now. Thank you very much. On today's episode, I'll be talking about the major stratifications of research, that is, the different types of research that there are. And this is important for students and researchers to know from the get-go because it shapes how we collect our data, how we interpret said data, and then to some extent how we present them. I'll be sharing with us today the difference between basic and applied research, exploratory, descriptive, and explanatory research, and finally, I'll be talking about qualitative and quantitative research. Are you ready? Have you subscribed? Have you seen the first episode? The link is up there now. Just click, watch it before you watch this one. It's important because this is a journey for us to get a real good picture what the research journey is about, just a basic guide to help us understand and begin to love the art of research. Are you ready now? Let's jump into it. Okay, let's talk about basic and applied research. Basic research is also described as fundamental or pure research. And that's because this kind of research just gives us an insight into the nature of a thing. It tells us, for example, the characteristics, the symptoms, the features of that element. It just kind of gives us this kind of pure knowledge base, a basic understanding about things or problems or issues or even people and organizations. Basic research is kind of the first layer of research that we generally do. If, for instance, we want to understand the affordances of Twitter, that means how does Twitter work? And we begin to find answers like visibility, network association, and persistence. Then we are not really solving a problem. We're just trying to understand how Twitter works. That is a good example of basic research. Applied research, on the other hand, is geared towards solving a particular problem. It gives us a more robust understanding of the phenomenon, the organization, the person, the place, the thing, whatever it is that we're making our inquiry into. Doing applied research means that we're going to dig in, collect empirical-based data, investigate, analyze, and then provide findings. And that's why, unlike basic research, applied research usually attracts funds. People pay because you're doing this research to solve a particular problem. What am I trying to say here? Basic research is knowledge-based. You just want to know. You just want to inquire. Applied research, on the other hand, is designed to solve specific problems. Okay, that's the difference.
The second set we're going to examine include the difference between exploratory, descriptive, and explanatory research. Exploratory research deals with the what question. For example, what are the symptoms of malaria? That's a question. Malaria is a major problem in Africa and many parts of the world. So if, for example, we want to just gain a basic understanding about a problem, maybe there's a new issue. For example, COVID-19. The first questions people ask, what is the nature of this problem? What? It gives us a doorway in before we can go on to do other things. Descriptive research, just as the name implies here, enables us to describe the problem. It gives us kind of an opportunity to provide in-depth knowledge and information about a particular phenomenon. Another thing it does is establish correlational relationships between variables. How does this thing relate to the other? How? We answer the how question. And then finally, explanatory research answers the why question. Why relationships exist? Why is this the case? Why is it that a particular section of the population is not affected by a particular ailment? Those kind of questions. And that is the heartbeat of research, explanatory research. So for example, people in their first degree might be delving into, say, exploratory or descriptive research, but at the PhD level, you'll be required to do an explanatory research. Okay, but it's also important to mention at this point that sometimes, even though we're making distinctions, there's hardly any pure hard-cut difference. For you to do explanatory research, you might have to do some description along the line, you might have to explore some concepts, so they are all kind of interrelated. But just to sum up here, exploratory research answers a what question. What is the nature of the problem? Descriptive deals with the how question. How does something present itself? And then finally, explanatory research answers the why question. Why is this particular issue happening? Why is this particular variable? How gives us a reason, a cause and effect relationship between issues or problems that we examine. Okay, now lastly, let's talk about the difference between quantitative research and qualitative research. Quantitative research deals with numbers and statistics. If our research leads us to quantify things, or in terms of analyzing our data, rely on statistics of any kind, then we're doing quantitative research. Qualitative research, on the other hand, deals with words and meanings. In this case, we're looking at texts, we're looking at maybe videos, we're looking at things that cannot be numbered. These two types of research are really important. But then again, when we go into our other episodes, we'll talk about even when you're choosing a topic, whatever it is you're doing, you want to find out what your strengths and your weaknesses are. If, for example, you're not very good with numbers, you may want to avoid quantitative research, except you know that you can get some help or you're very quick to learn. And if you know you're also not good with analyzing or pouring through large volumes of words, it might also be a good opportunity for you to avoid qualitative research. Now, it's also important to note that for quantitative research, it's very good when you're working with very large samples. If, for example, you want to collect data from, say, 100,000 persons or from an entire country, it's best to just, reduce that data to numerical forms. But if you're going to talk to people and you want to get in-depth information and the sample is smaller, say 10 people, say 12, say 20, say 40, then you can go ahead and do qualitative research because that's exactly what it allows for. In terms of analyzing quantitative data, it's also important to know that you'll be relying on maths and lots of statistics. For example, SPSS is a very good tool for doing statistical analysis. Excel is also a very good one. Or you may even have to start from basic maths, simple maths. But for qualitative research, you may have to rely on software like NVivo because what you're doing at that point is summarizing, categorizing, and interpreting. It's so important that we get this difference. Like I mentioned earlier, there are different variations, and in the future we'll talk about in instances where you do a little bit of quantitative and qualitative, what we categorize as mixed research. We're going to dedicate an entire episode to that. But for now, it's important to just know these major differences: basic research, applied research, exploratory research, descriptive, explanatory, and then finally qualitative and quantitative. Because like I mentioned earlier, whatever choice you make will not just shape your research objectives, for example, it will also determine the kind of data that you collect, how you analyze them, and then how you present them. Okay, this is also a very good opportunity. Just a reminder here to please subscribe. And if you have not watched the first episode, the link is up there now and you can watch it. All right, I hope this has been an enjoyable experience for you and that you've enjoyed this episode. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.